Good evening, folks. Welcome back to part two. Apparently, Rob and I felt like doing this again this evening. We have a lot to talk about. And in fact, he's not even ready to come on. So, um, someone just posted, stand by. Got to fix the lighting here. See if I can bring it up. No, it's the picture that's in the, let's see if I can find it. Stand by. See if I can find it. There's a picture that someone was talking about. Um, Virtual backgrounds? No. Audio, camera, general, layouts, guest. You know what? You've seen it. You've seen that picture. It's probably on YouTube, right? The screenshot on YouTube. Yeah, let me tell you all about that. Stand by. All right, Mule Skinner. So it's a heck of a picture of that chopper. Lordy, lordy. Let me give you a backstory on that. I did not take that picture. However, I was on board that ship, FFG 39, USS Doyle. And well, it's believable if I tell you we were in the bull tops. We're doing bull tops. We were in the Baltics, and I was able. This was right after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and we went and visited some places that's never seen Americans like us. And we went to Estonia, Lafayette, Bulgaria, and I'm sure there was other places. However, when we went there, they weren't very westernized, and we had to go out. We had Liberty Call, and we had to wear our dress blues. It's like what you see on Cracker Jacks. Wait a second. I happen to be restoring a photo of yours truly 33 years ago this month. This is what I look like. Stand by. Apparently, my Photoshop on my hat don't want to work right now. There it is. All right, it's uploading. I do have a backstory on that. Okay, so as a young-looking guy, this is me 33 years ago this month. Yeah, I got old. I was a seaman recruit, an E1 back then, and the USS Doyle was my second ship. A lot of stories about that ship. But we had Bull Tops was the name of our deployment, and I was able to go to all those different countries. And of course, they'd never really seen Americans there, right? And I remember going out with just not that much money, and like for $5, I'm just guessing, you can have this huge steak dinner, all the beers you want to drink. The money was worth a lot then. Fast forward to 2009, I went back to those countries, and they changed a lot. They're very westernized. A lot of American cars on the road. They got like McDonald's, and they love being westernized. And it just breaks my heart to see Ukraine being treated the way they do. They have. They're good people. I'll just keep my personal opinions. It's kind of like religion and politics. I don't want people to know that. Well, it's more a personal thing, and this is the platform for that. We're here to talk about other things. So that was a interesting and fun deployment. I could say on that deployment, I saw something and I've never seen it since. Unreps, underway replenishments. We were doing them like all the time. We were doing the UN ships would be out there. We had like our fueling ship would be like from Germany or some other country, and we just do these. We refuel like every day just to practice, right? And I remember we did this underway replenishment, and the seas were so bad, and it was so dark. The moon wasn't even out. It was just sky was clear. You can see the stars, which is really neat. And that was it. And the ship was just, it was listing back and forth and hitting these big waves. But the refueling station for those for the frigates are on the O3 level, the 3 decks up. And no, it's O2 level. Fueling systems for that ship's O2 level. The lookouts are on the O3 level. So while we were doing that under replenishment, for the first time ever, I saw the Northern Lights. However, we were so far north that the Northern Lights were above me. And to look up, it's almost like I heard the angels' harps, music. It was just the Aurora Borealis. Yeah, I was looking up at it. And it was just amazing. And I never seen anything like that since. So I would say that's one of the most amazing things I ever saw in my 20-year career in the Navy. A lot of stories. I got a good UFO story. It's not a real UFO story. It's a prank. I have the best prank UFO story in Navy history. Well, at least I'd like to nominate my story for that. And I'll tell everybody later. Rob will be here shortly, like in the next 2 minutes. He's old, right? So it takes a minute. But while we're waiting, if you have any questions, make sure y'all put it in caps, because when I'm supposed to wear my reading glasses, but they're not here. But if I wear my other glasses, it actually, I still can't see because the computer needs to be way over here in order for me to see. With that, I need to get bifocals, right? But even if I had bifocals, it's almost like this is in between. So I need to have trifocals. Okay, that picture, it was taken while we were on a bull tops. And as you can see, the helicopter was tied down. I mean, it's in the bear claw. We call it the bear claw, bear trap. And you got these tie downs. That helicopter would be gone. I remember the waves were so big that we have a strap in our racks to prevent us from falling out. But during that time, the waves were really bad, and we do have these fin stabilizers that kind of help to keep us straight, right, in the water instead of like a tin can. And whether it went out or not, we would still go. It would be so bad that we would have to put our boots underneath our rack in order to wedge us up against the bulkhead of our rack. So it keeps us from falling out. So while we're waiting for my co-host, I have some photos I would just love to share with everybody. I went through today's Facebook memories, and a couple of years ago, stand by, you got to see this. This is cool. A couple of years ago, the Blue, like I said a show or two ago, I love shooting photography and air shows, right? Well, the last time the Blue Angels were at Jacksonville Beach, they it was like 3 years ago, I guess now, 2.5. It don't matter. But I took this photo. And how many people can say they have a picture of the Blue Angels flying through a rainbow? That's right, folks. I got the Blue Angels flying through a rainbow. I got better images of that, but that was just what I put up at the time. I just wanted people to see that, I got Blue Angels in a rainbow. How cool is that? All right, so give me 1 second. Let me get rid of banners. Nope, that's in comments. Okay, so let me get rid of the welcome. You are always welcome. Let me see if my leader is going to show up. My right-hand man. Stand by. All right. All right. Stand by, folks. I'm coming back. All right. I'm on the right tab this time. All right. We're looking good. So look at here. I got for Father's Day German Shepherd Dad. Second time wearing this shirt. I'm proud of it. Tomorrow I don't leave the house often, obviously, but I have a friend who's a photographer as well. And he and I are going to we're going to the Jacksonville Zoo, and we are going to do our best to capture some great photos there, which I always do. I love going there. All right, so I got to show you another picture. This is unbelievable. This Thursday will be 6 weeks since I've had my puppy, and he's still a puppy. It's going to take a while. From what I understand, my German Shepherd is going to be like 100 pounds. He's not there yet, but my God, he's growing. All right, check out these pictures here. This is when I got him. This is Blue. Mama drove, so I'm over here so I can get some special time with him. And after we picked his butt up, the next day we went to the vet. And oh my God, is he not the cutest dog ever, right? All right, so here he is. I'm holding him here. This is a week before we picked him up, so he's younger here than he was here. All right, so, and this is I can tell by the shirt color. Here he is right there. I'm so proud of him. So happy to have him. He is going to be a service dog. I do have PTSD, and it's not because of 20 years of military service. It's because of long-term pain, rheumatoid pain that was going untreated, and it was just horrible. So, yeah, I'm a lot better now. My rheumatoid's under control. Unfortunately, it's the reason why I'm sick today. It's kind of like a snowball effect. Believe it or not, rheumatoid is a killer. It will kill you if you just leave it alone. Don't get it treated. So, all right, you see my puppy. You ready for what he looks like now? This is 6 weeks, folks, and look at those ears. I mean, he's cuter than Baby Yoda. You got to admit it, right? Cuter than Baby Yoda. This was a couple of days ago. Here's him with our other dog. Oh, this is back when he was a lot smaller. This is Cooper, and Cooper is just a great dog. Oh, one of my favorites, of course. Any more? Any more? I think that's it, folks. That's it. So I nominate my dog the cutest dog of the day. There you go. All right. So we're waiting for Rob. Let's see if anybody has any questions while we're waiting on Rob. Yeah, he'll be here soon. Yeah, love the shirt too. Yes, that is my first shepherd. My first dog was a beagle. Then my wife got another beagle, and that was like her dog. And once they got old and passed away, she had a friend at work who has a beagle, and they're always away from home, and she didn't think it was fair for that beagle to be caged up all the time, and for my wife to be home. She works from home, and I'm always at home. The dog would have never be caged up, literally, unless we go out to eat or something. But yeah, first shepherd. Very good. Oh, someone's calling me. Stand by, folks. Yeah, folks, this is Rob. I just took myself off mute. I'm going to send Rob another invite. Stand by. There it is. That's me going bling. Rob should be here any second. Mm-hmm. Last of the Finest says, I hope everyone had a great 4th of July.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, here. All right. I haven't talked to you in seconds, tens and tens of seconds there, Rob.
In a while, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So by accident, I did send this link to somebody else, or to Jonathan, and I said I did not mean to do that, but however, you're more than welcome to come on and spend some time with us. And he gave us a thumbs up, so maybe he'll take us up on it and he'll pop in. How cool would that be?
Who?
John, case 2.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be way cool.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's he's and definitely one of the top 10.
Did I lose you? Where'd he go? Showed up to the party and he leaves on me. Yeah, typical. Yeah, well. See if I can find him. Windleson. Oh, hey, Dave. Glad to see you, man. Rendlesham, that was the real deal, and the largest repository of our nuclear stockpiles at the time in Europe. So definitely modus operandi going on there of tracking our nuclear assets. And I think you and I have had this discussion also that some instances the UFOs actually alerted to previously clandestine nuclear warhead locations and bases that no one knew existed prior to that. So I don't know where Shannon went. Maybe he's too cool to hang out with me now. You never know. So yeah, he may have them better things to do. Rearrange the stock drawer. Who knows? But yeah, something like that. That's what they've used that the nuclear incursion. Hey, good to see you, man. The nuclear
Man, my computer decided to die.
Wonderful for Congress to lay that out to, because there's a tremendous amount of supporting evidence to substantiate that particular military case because it was from the military, the information for it. So they're going to close the noose on that. I'm fairly confident. So it's just a matter of time. Can't hear you, Shannon, if you're talking.
Oh, I was just talking to myself.
Okay.
I don't know. So what was you talking? Just talking about? Just saying all bad things about me?
Yeah, Ukraine Utopia. Dave, for those that don't know, is one of those that were from my ancient history, alternative history group that were so gracious to bring me in about 4 years ago now. And it's been a very wild ride and one that is in tandem with this pursuit now, persistently. So they're always going to be my team as long as they'll have me. So I learned a lot from these guys. Their wealth of information on a lot of topics. Dave from Ukraine Utopia has been in this hunt also for decades. So I learned a lot from him on both topics. So anybody has any questions on either,
Yep.
You can check out his channel, and he's on Twitter, but definitely a powerhouse of information on either subject. So, yeah, I highly recommend him.
So, what's your guys' thoughts on the Rendlesham UFO incident? I'm glad you asked. I believe something happened. I believe it's a possibility that one or more of the witnesses are not telling the truth. Some things are not adding up. But besides that, something did happen. You had the security officer or the base commander out there witnessing this, along with all the security personnel. My Master at Arms school that I went to in 1998 is located at Lackland Air Force Base, like San Antonio, Texas. Well, what do you know? That Air Force Base and that location is the same place where they send Air Force security personnel. So pretty much the curriculum, it's pretty much the same. We have a lot of schools that are the same there. We have a military working dog school there as well, that the Air Force and the Navy, and I'm sure the Marines go there for that as well. But yeah, something definitely happened there. Everything that when you hear the witnesses talking about, he was writing down in his little notepad. That's the same notepad that I've been using the entire time I was in the Navy, with my Skill Craft black plastic pen that everybody who ever served in the military has a lot of them in their home still from taking them home, you know.
Yep. Yeah, that's the best part about the military, having unlimited supply of pens.
Yep, black ink, folks. That's how we write, and everything in capital letters as you write, so it's legible for those who can't write well. All right, so yeah, let's go on to the next good question here. Like I said, you got a question, make sure you put it in caps. And I showed everybody my puppy. Oh, I showed them this picture too. I don't think you've seen it. Let me bring it up. It is right. All right, can you see the screen?
Yep.
How many people can say they got blue angels going through a rainbow? Well, there you go. You've seen it today. I just, if I didn't have this outlet for this hobby, I think I'd be talking about photography, because I just really like it. I have some really cool shots. And if you guys ever want to see the media that I have, I actually was I'm not kidding you. I was recording in 4K, and my phone was actually in a gimbal, a DJI Osmo mobile gimbal. I think it was the first one too they had. And as going down Main Street, USA, at Disney World, and there was this big storm coming, and I was like, man, I hope lightning strikes the castle. Well, guess what? I got video of the lightning striking castle. But better yet, 15 feet to my right, there was people, walking this way trying to escape the rain, and we're walking toward it. And there were, if anybody knows the phenomenon called lightning runners, it's basically the fingers of lightning going up. You got, which is, ground or negative, and clouds are positive, and they reach down. It was reaching up. Well, this woman was pushing this child rental cart, and right off the handle and about 15 feet up was this lightning runner. And I caught that, and a few frames later, I caught it twice coming off her shoulder. And some of you are probably thinking, well, did she feel it? No, because it didn't complete the circuit. If it completes the circuit, the energy from the cloud would discharge, and it would go through that woman, and that's where bad things happen. But I capture that. So I've had people say, that's fake. If I did that and it's fake, I did a good job at it. Okay, so I
Hmm.
should get a lot of views just for it being fake. All
Yeah.
my personal my personal channel is not even monetized. I don't know why they use it. Yeah, for shits and giggles, I guess. But that's one of my favorite photos or media.
People have been too
We'll go a little
conditioned
more into
to
that.
accept the advanced narrative for decades now, and anything that deviates outside of it to reject it.
Yeah.
But the leads, they go up about 10 meters from the ground, and then the cloud lightning, the charge will come down in fingers, like you're saying, and if the two meet up, then dynamite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Which I think um what's his name? Um
Robert Pershinger,
the guy no, the guy from Fire in the Sky, the
Travis, Travis Walton.
Fire in the Sky, the yeah, Travis Walton, right. Brain fart. I have brain farts a lot. I think what he and I kind of went over this briefly maybe a day or two ago. That he may have just been a victim of that a static discharge, whatever that I'm theorizing. Maybe the craft is has a lot of energy, creates a lot of energy, and
Yeah.
and if something gets in the way, and you get that those lightning runners, and and Travis may have completed a circuit, and his ass went
Yeah.
flying like a
Blew
bag of
him
bones.
away.
Yeah. So it's going to be an honor to talk to that guy, and I'm going to probably ask questions that he's never been asked before because I feel kind of useless going on a show because I'm not going to be asking normal questions. I know all the answers. That's the problem. When you see these interviews he's done, and I'm okay. I know this. I'll know that. Well, how about this? Or this or that and the other. Even the humidity in the air. I guess the only question I haven't heard maybe is, was there a smell? Does he remember a smell? Other than that,
Yeah, the
very,
ozone
very, very
smell that
interesting.
comes with lightning and crap like that that are ionizing the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. See who else is out here. Okay. Last of the finest says to me the Rendition Fourth incident is the only second to the aerial school sighting. Yeah. Yeah. And I think we need to put Rendlesham, and we need to put the Massachusetts, the
Mass kidnapping.
the mass kidnapping of American citizens and assault,
Yeah.
and them dropping them off where they don't belong on multiple.
If this were if you took out the UFO aspect of it
Mhm.
and advanced it to the evidence to a grand jury, there would not be enough to get an indictment, I dare say, handed down, and then put back in the part that they were extraterrestrial craft, not humans doing it. But yeah, they left that part inconvenient little truth out. I'm sure they would have enough evidence to do that, and the people wouldn't be so biased to reject it.
I would
that's part of
not,
the problem.
and I believe there was a YouTube video that basically followed. It was a documentary of a follow up of the Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries season 1 episode whatever. They went and they talked to all these guys and that the one lady who was dropped off at the lake, and I believe that if these people may have if there's going to be such a thing as an implant, they're high they're going to be high probability of
Yeah,
having it. In fact, I
yeah,
believe she in this documentary talked about how she can't even walk into her husband's office because she keeps blowing up the computer. So whatever may be implanted in this woman has effects, the biological effects possibly, and effects to electronics, like an EMP type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised no one looked into that more.
Like
Also, yep.
they could
Also,
they could
there's
take
a
their electromagnetic current and broadcast it through them, use it to power the device, and use them as a battery.
That's amazing. There's also a witness. He's also a judge in that county that this happened at the time. I don't know if he's currently one as well, but he was talking about how when he was a kid and all these sightings were going on that September 1st of 1969. Hot day. From what I hear, it was a hot day. I wasn't born yet, but because I'm a youngin'. But he said he witnessed a cow that looked like it imploded. It looked, it basically turned a cow inside. A cow was mutilated. Let's just say it. Let's call it out. He saw a cow mutilation. So there's damage to personal property. I'm going to go ahead and charge all these Leroys on some charges here. We got damage to personal property. We got assault. I also suspect that the females that were taken, their eggs were harvested because the lady that was interviewed talked about how her abdomen hurt afterwards. So that would be a telltale sign of some they were messing around and doing things without her permission. That's for sure. We call that assault here in America.
Yeah.
That's why Leroy don't want to come out, because he knows he's going to be handed some subpoenas and he's going to be arrested for assault and damn it. You know how much that locomotive costs? Two of them. You know how much that repair costs? I bet it costs over $1,000.
Yeah, we're gonna throw him in the brig.
Throw him in the brig, man. Elements of the crime, folks. Good. Thank you, Shannon and Rob. Never failed to make my day. Well, thank you very much. That's very nice of you.
I was asking if that was if that profile with the V's is just need sleep. Kind of looks like the little icon for him, but I can't see what the damn. So who knows?
So The Last of Us says he's still waiting on a phone call from us about England, about the base there. So hey, I got a question for you. You willing to come on and show your face, and we could talk about it tonight if you're willing to? Just let me know, and we'll hook you up somehow, and we'll send you a link, my friend.
Yeah, anybody for that matter.
Skeptics say aerial school, lightning, and yeah, and skeptics do not have an open mind. When you hear a skeptic, that means their mind's already made before they even hear the story. Am I right, Rob?
Debunker. Yeah, either title. Yeah. They're already biased coming out of the gate. And like Gary Nolan, biatch slapped somebody on Twitter recently with that they, anytime that they say they're a debunker or skeptic, they're automatically biased. And no, that's Travis Taylor. Sorry, that are targeting for a conclusion that they are dismissing any data that doesn't fit their agenda. So they're not empirically seeking the truth. They're seeking to substantiate their argument, which often is not the truth. So,
all right. Hey, Rob, would you be kind enough to send a link, maybe through YouTube to Last of the Finest, and give him a link? And he said he'll come on and talk. So,
okay. Yep, I'll do that now.
All right, stand by there.
Do I have him on?
See if he's on. Like, I know he's on YouTube. I don't know how to send a message to him.
Do I have him on Twitter?
I don't know. Well, I know he's. Let me see if he's on YouTube over here. Let me write it down. Let me see if I can find him. Okay, stand by. Videos, this channels. I'm looking for a channel. There we go.
I'm gonna pop him a link on his last or video. Maybe that'll get him on.
All right, see if that helps, dude.
Yeah, check out your latest video, and there's a link there. The yippers.
Yeah, hopefully it'll come on. Skeptics and never look at all the evidence. They only cherish the materialistic scientific theories. Whew.
Yeah, they cherry pick it.
They cherry pick it, absolutely. We got an amber alert here in Florida, Palm Beach County. Let's see what the information.
Yeah. Does anybody have any particular questions tonight? Dave, I know you know a heck of a lot about what you're asking me on Rendlesham Forest. Was there a particular slant you're looking for that you wanted me to see what I know about it, or anything else for that matter? Just light me up, put it in caps. I'll see it better. But anyway, for that matter, if you got something you want to ask, just put it in caps, and we'll do our best. Now, yeah, skeptics with the aerial school saying they've been debunked. No, not in the least. They can't debunk it. There's too much evidence. Way too much evidence. They can't do it. So, yeah, they can say they did, just like with Mick West and the gimbal saying he debunked it. No, he didn't. He's just ridiculous at this point. I put it, last of the finest, I put it in your last video that you have on your YouTube page in the comment section, because I don't know where else to drop it. I can send it in an email maybe. If I remember what that is, but I'll look here. I have to have his email. You ought to be able to find it in your last video on your webpage or on your YouTube channel. I'm not sure how close the close calls are. Are you talking, Shannon? I can't hear you. I was wondering why you're awful quiet. Can't hear you, man. No habla inglés. Nope. Shannon! You're muted, man. You're muted, Shannon.
Apparently I'm muted.
Yep, you're muted, Gonzo.
Yeah, how about now?
Nope.
No? All right, I'm going to jump
Okay, I'll do a tap dance. Anyway, close calls. They talked about maybe some instances was like 50 feet or less, 100 feet, um, close enough that when they were flying
Thank
in
you, George.
tandem, I can hear you now. They were talking about how they were flying so close that they had to take evasive action. You know, when you're flying supersonic and you have to pull on the stick, especially if you're flying with other aircraft, you got to remember trying to turn something around going that fast. It's going to take half a state. So you know, one pull on the joystick, and you know they can take another airplane out of the sky, or they can throw themselves into a tailspin. You know, they're getting more aggressive, and they're just screwing with us now at this point with our pilots and things. You know, the testimonies of a lot of abductees talk about some did have good interactions, but most of them didn't, and not even it wasn't just the indifference. Some of them were a little bit malicious toward the abductees. Most of them weren't like Travis Taylor, where they were trying to actually help him. It appears more often than not that they're being a little vindictive toward us. And I think they're exhibiting personalities a little bit. So some of these running so close to our craft, I think they're getting a little cocky or something. Maybe they think it's funny. I don't know, but they're not staying neutral and keeping their distance like they used to. They keep getting more quantities of them and more close in, and more like what happened with Fravor and the Tic Tac, where it mimicked his flight characteristics. It seems that they're doing that more often now again too. But our Air Force pilots cannot speak at all to anybody outside of their chain of command, or even other members of the like the Navy pilots and things. They had a training mission where a Navy pilot and the Air Force pilot were in tandem, and the Navy pilot, they both saw a anomalous object in the sky. The Navy pilot reported it, but the Air Force pilot said didn't see anything because they're not allowed to. Even to their counterpart that's in the next bit over, he wasn't allowed to kick up the conversation with him. You know, and if he did file a report and run up the chain of command, he couldn't tell his counterpart, from the air that he was having those maneuvers with. He can. So they definitely have a problem with the Air Force right now, and it needs to be fixed.
Yep. The last of the finest. I just put my email up. It's Shandy Scott. Hopefully this is it. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, that's it. Hey, email me here real quick, and I'll send you a link back. I'll leave that up.
Yeah. So what I was saying, this could be God displaying personalities. That's one misconception a lot of people get, is they try to say that Elohim, that the Bible is wrong, and there are many gods, that the God Yahweh is just one of many. Elohim is generic for gods. There are many Elohim, but there's only one Yahweh. So Yahweh is species unique, and it does state in the Bible created the lower heavenly host. So in Psalms 81, he was talking about that, where they had wronged him and they were going to die like humans because of betrayal. So yeah, there are many Elohim, but there's only one Yahweh. It can be used either plural or singular depending on how they wrote it in the original Hebrew. So it is consistent with the scriptures, unlike what some people claim of a pantheon of gods that are on that level of Yahweh, but they aren't. So anyway, that's what the scripture says and what I believe. What can I prove? That's a tough one, but can't disprove it. That's why they call it faith, not facts. It's just the way it is.
All right. I have his email, so I'm sending him the link right now. Reply. Here's the link, my friend. All right.
Dave's a big advocate of the living plasma. Hestelden, Norway lights where they keep recurring, where it looks like they come out with one single orb, then they have a bunch of little ones come out of it, circle around, do a little dance, sing a little song, get down at night, and go back into the original. Those to me do look more like a type of you know like it's organic. Is it mimicking organic life or something? I don't know, but yeah, those definitely caused me to think. And NARCAP with on their website, they have 57 incidences of orbs, and they're the only ones that cause temporary system failure on other craft, and some for like 50 miles away. So that's a unique detail to remember about the orbs, is that they are the only ones taking that. Seems to me they're stripping electrons wholesale out of the atmosphere and any electronics, like an EMP pulse type thing.
Yeah. Hey, last of the would you turn down your background music? You got a little echo there, I think. And well, hello, how are you? Would you turn down your
You've got the YouTube stream going.
Music? Oh, you got the YouTube stream going on somewhere. I feel like I heard that one before.
Yep.
Or how about this, Rob? You in the car? You need to put it on mute, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm talking. Yeah, put it on.
No, you're talking about a meeting we were in.
Yeah,
about
another. Yeah, it's like an inside thing.
Mute yourselves. I'm still talking.
I've got their microphone, and you will hear everything I have to say. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me get rid of this banner here. No one wants to see this banner. Yes, welcome. What shall we? What's your first name, if we may ask, or what you want us to call you? If you want to be anonymous.
No, it's fine. Can you hear me, guys?
Oh, perfect.
Yep. Yes.
Okay,
very well.
Great. My name's Bill Carter, actually. My name's William, but I'm like most guys named William. We go by Bill.
That was my grandpa's name and my cousin's. Good name.
But thanks, guys, for having me on the show. I appreciate it. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And I think it's about time that somebody came forward and talked about some of these things, because there's no other show like you guys. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. My mama said I was special.
And Semper Fi, Rob. I served in the Marine Corps for 4 years and the Army for 6. I was a MP myself for
hardcore
a while.
Yeah, I was infantry.
And I had some interesting things happen. I've sent you guys an email about my experience I had on Eglin, right? And this was back in 2010. And at the time when it happened, I really didn't have any more thoughts about what we were told until afterwards. My unit was sent there for the weekend. At that time, I was in the National Guard, and we were there for 2 different reasons. We were doing marijuana eradication, and the other days we would do garrison patrols on the base. And our first day at Guard Mount, we were told that certain areas that we would patrol would be involving to pick up space junk around the base. And if we were lucky, right, why does it just land there? That's what we, we're thinking after, a while.
Bill, I want to tell you, I've had Guard Mount many times in my life. And I've never heard that disseminated to myself.
Right. Yeah, they told it to our whole platoon that was there. we were told about the different areas of the base. This was our first day at Guard Mountain, so we were told like the different areas we would patrol, and one of the areas was the Marine Patrol outside the base in the water. And if we just happened to be on the Marine Patrol that day, we might have to pick up space junk that falls out of the sky. And so I didn't really think about doing that. Some of my friends did. Um, they didn't really see anything, but I know they did it there. And we also ended up seeing some planes taking off there, no tail numbers. They were not like any planes I had ever seen. And at night, they would fly something over the base that they didn't want us to see. So they would make us go inside. So we couldn't see anything. They would only fly these things if it was theirs. I don't even know who was flying them. They just wouldn't allow us to see them.
Bill, what year was this?
This was in 2010.
I was thinking that it would have been a lot earlier for that. Okay.
And one day we were patrolling with one of the Air Force security force guys, and we got a call to go up to Site 6, which is inside the base. It's real deep inside the base. And I walked through the door, and there's this big archway, and there's this sign that says, "We monitor all space activity, terrestrial and extraterrestrial, from planet Earth." And I just froze in place when I saw it.
It's like their mission statement or rolling banner or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's highly curious. Kind of reminds me of the Peru thing, when that poor
and you know, at the
Marine was
time,
taken down.
we like I said, we spent 2 weeks there. We were gearing up to go overseas, and that's why we were there. They were trying to get us acclimated to the heat and all this kind of stuff, because Eglin's pretty hot. It's down in Fort Walton. And I reflected on it a lot after we left, and you know, I just remember the different things that I saw there, and I couldn't help but, you know, think about, well, why does space junk just fall there? I mean,
Yeah.
why is it not falling in Alabama somewhere?
Because space junk will fall pretty much anywhere on Earth equally.
Right,
maybe it's that's like going on. Hey, we got to go out and look for meteorites this evening, folks, because we have them on the base. They fall here as much as they would fall in my house.
Yeah, like they're a giant Earth magnet pulling them in just to that one space on the planet. That doesn't really.
Something doesn't sound right there.
But forgive my background, guys. I'm a teacher on the side as well, so I teach English, and I usually get online when I have to teach. I teach from home, but I just couldn't get over that, and I thought that it was definitely something that people should pay attention to, because it really shocked me at the time. I mean, when I saw that sign above the doorway and I saw these 2 guys in white lab coats come up and, you know, take food away, I just felt like I was in a place I shouldn't be. Because you had to have, you know, just like all military police, you have to have a secret security clearance to get to some of those places. And you have to have a secret security clearance so they can put you in any place that they want you to go at any moment.
Yep.
That's just part of it.
I can confirm that. That came down through the Department of Defense. This after 9/11, shortly after, requiring all master at arms have to have a security clearance. And I had to basically go on a computer. I remember going on a computer, and it was like a never-ending questions where I had to call my mom. I said, "Mom, what was Dad's address when he was 9?" I mean, weird stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you can't get your clearance, guess what? You don't have a job, so you lose your rate as a master at arms. Probably same thing as a military policeman. You'll well, for me, I'd be supervising people chipping paint, and I didn't
Well,
want to do that.
out of my 10 years in the military, that was the most interesting thing I'd ever done
Yeah,
and saw at the time. And I felt like there was just some next level things going on there because we would be outside at night playing cards, and they would just come out of nowhere and say, "You guys got to go back inside." And I've never had that happen ever in my
yeah.
military career.
You think they were baiting them or drawing them in or taking them out of the sky with?
They were
Like
doing something there. I know for a fact that they monitor those things. Uh, just from the airmen that I talked to there that were
Hmm.
that actually worked at the site. But you can Google it, Site C6. It's you can Google Site C6 Eglin Air Force Base, and a lot of people get it mixed up with Elgin. It's not Elgin, it's Eglin,
right.
and
Yeah.
it's a very interesting place. Now I think it's taken over by the Space Force. I think they run it now.
Hmm. Yeah. You
That,
have any
that was on-
run-ins with Department of Energy in your 10 years?
No,
Well, they don't do nothing. They just send out their pit bulls. They don't do the dirty work.
Yeah, yeah, and they have private contractors with arresting powers.
I felt like if something happened there, they told us that just to prepare us in case we did have to go see something.
Acclimate you to the
yeah,
idea of it,
yes.
for crash recoveries and stuff like that. It almost seems like
Yeah.
what they were doing in Peru, in kind of the facility you were talking about that young Marine was speaking to as well. That they had.
Did you see that video I made,
command centers
Bill?
and
Well,
videos?
yeah, I saw that video of him.
What's your impression?
Well, I believe him. He was in about the same time I was. I went in '94 and got out in '98, and then I went back in 2003. And I'm a 90% disabled veteran, and I stayed in until I couldn't stay in no more. I mean, I've had 8
Yeah.
operations, so I've had 4 on my shoulders, and I couldn't do that work anymore. So they wouldn't let me stay.
Yeah, it's like with me. If you can't run, you can't be a Marine. So,
Mhm.
that little inconvenience.
But I'm still chasing after that 100%. maybe
Yeah,
maybe
it
that'll
wasn't
happen
easy.
soon. But
If you have it done, if you need a advocate, I suggest getting one through Wounded Warrior Project. They're the ones
Well,
that got me there.
actually, a guy from DC called me a few days ago, and he said that they would be setting up a higher level review in the next 2
Mhm.
weeks. So maybe I'll hear something in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Just know that when they refer to a book, at what chapter and what page, get to know that book. I don't have it off the top of my head. Like UCMJ, when I was working as a master at arms, know it so that you can say, I don't believe that your judgment is right at 90%. I believe I'm at 100%, and this is the reason why. On this page, in this book at page and this paragraph, on this sentence, part B, there's that reason there. It says, "In all shall be 100%." That's what got me over to 100%. Is I'm being incapacitated for till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day. So
I've been chasing it for 10 years.
yeah,
It's a long haul, but I'm putting my faith in the good Lord, and maybe good things will happen soon.
Yeah, because you get grandfathered as well. Once you get it, you get grandfathered. Yeah, I was able to pay off my car, so that was nice.
When I saw the title of the show, I thought, wow, finally, because this is a platform that the guys need to come forward and tell these stories, man. I mean, there's nothing out there like this.
Yeah.
And I just got goosebumps when I saw it. I was like, now maybe I can tell my story about what I saw.
Heck yeah.
And I know
because I tell you what, we get somebody on here who's acting like a service member, we could sniff them out in about 10 seconds because, you could just tell
Yeah.
the verbiage,
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the military bearing or not.
Well,
So,
when
yeah.
I first went in, I wanted to be an MP when I first went in. And then after 9/11 happened, my whole unit got reclassed into being MP. So be careful what you wish for.
That's awesome.
They sent us all out to Missouri, of all places, and reclassed our whole unit. We were a chemical unit. And I don't
Yeah.
like chemicals very well either.
No.
Well, you can always join the Department of Energy. Apparently, they have good PPE. They have great transportation, and they got bulldogs and black camis. So
Yeah, and
they
no
got it all
oversight.
there, and no oversight.
Yeah,
You can say,
that's just straight up bullying somebody.
Mhm.
When
Yeah.
he went on that retrieval, and then to be threatened the way he said he was threatened. I watched that interview a while back. It's been a while,
Yeah.
but I do remember him saying that they tied him up and threatened him and all these different things. And
It's almost
to
like he's
me,
reliving it. When he's talking
well,
about it, he's reliving it too.
well, I'm the type that if I'm bullied, I'm going to come out fighting twice as
Yeah.
hard, and I think most vets should. I
Yeah.
don't think that anybody should be threatened into silence because this is something that, I've had sightings myself, not just, military stuff or anything, but I've had a couple of sightings over the years. We actually had cattle mutilations here in the county where I live back in the late 80s. We lived close to a place called Fife, Alabama. And back in the 80s, there were numerous cattle mutilations. They had UFO sightings, CNN, and at that time, CNN was the premier news channel. And they had a lot of other national networks that came here to film what happened. If you want a funny take on it, you should try what is that guy's name? Bill Hicks and the Fife UFO. He's pretty funny guy. he was he was a comedian back in the 90s. He's no longer with us now. He's passed away, but he was a funny guy.
The
Yep.
Dave from Ukraine, my friend, Ukrainia. I can never pronounce this. Ukrainia Utopia put it in the chat and a comment that Eglin Air Force Base housed the AN FPS 85 phased array radar. Says it was implemented in 2011. It was the most powerful radar on the planet.
Yeah.
I think there's a
Yeah,
pair
it-
of them
yeah.
now.
It can
So-
pick up anything the size of a basketball and bigger, and it might be a softball.
Size of a baseball and deep space object the size of a basketball. So if it's near Earth, it can get down to a baseball size. Deep space, the size of a basketball. So it reaches way out there. But that was an article from December 2011. So
if you've well, Chris Mellon talked about it one time. He didn't mention it by name, but he was referring to Eglin. I watched an interview with him one time, and he was talking about the radar that we have, and I thought, yeah, he's talking about Eglin, but he didn't mention it by name. But
there's one on the West Coast and the East Coast, and those are the two most powerful sources of electromagnetic energy on the planet. Those two.
Yeah. Well, I think the last time I read something about it, it monitored like 70% of what we can see in space from Earth. It's pretty impressive.
I think if it's the right one, that they're tracking over 10,000 objects of 10 centimeters or greater up to middle orbit, maybe beyond, but it's classified. So for the Air Force to claim, some of this part of that has been in place since the 60s. So for them to claim that they don't know what this is or how many there are or where they come and go from,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
they've got all of that knowledge and trillions of dollars and decades of equipment and experience, and they have the audacity to come to Congress and tell them we don't know what this is. We didn't know. We think maybe they're drones. Bullshit. They know exactly what they're dealing with. They're not telling anybody, not even Congress that does have oversight on them. They're acting like they're a rogue fourth branch of the government, but they're not. And I think these congressional hearings are going to reinforce that if they don't want to comply, they can just keep pulling stars and rank until they get somebody that does.
Well, the thing is, accountability in this country is just falling by the wayside. And I think, those guys, they work for us. We're citizens now. They work for us. And I've heard Lou mention that a few times that, it's our money we give them. And we have rights to know certain things. If these things are affecting, the whole world, I think they should be forthcoming with information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this says they can track things up to 300 miles away that are only a couple of inches in diameter. And they can track things a foot across up to 23,000 miles away out. So for them to say they've got nothing or that they don't have persistent monitoring of everything coming and going from our atmosphere and our oceans, they're full of shit.
That's why. Well, that's why I felt like this was so important to get out, because I know they have the capabilities to do it, and I think that I understand keeping some things under wraps, but for them to sit there and lie and say they don't know where to look is a lie.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's a flat out lie. And Mellon wrote an article about that a couple of months ago, saying how two articles. One was the overclassification of information that is creating another bottleneck like we had before 9/11. Homeland Security was commissioned to break down all those stovepipes and get communication across the board. Now we're having another incident where our militaries are recreating that same dysfunction and working their way around it for whatever reason. I don't know. I think that they have been reverse engineering this with these aerospace industries for decades. They don't want, how do they admit that they have lied to Congress, to presidents, and that they've got all of these technologies with aerospace companies they hid it in? I mean, you're talking about not just ethics violations. Some of this gets into criminal. And for them, where do they start? And also that, we know what they are, but we can't do a damn thing about it. But yet we're supposed to be the most powerful military on the planet, but we got nothing. Like bravado that they speak, because in the hearing they said that, we will identify, and if we have to, we'll mitigate the threat. No, you won't, because they've already proven that, as far as I know of, that they can't do a damn thing about it yet. They may actually get one knocked out of the sky with a good shot of a radar here and there, but our weaponry is just a joke to these craft.
What I was hoping for is maybe you guys could maybe get some airmen that were security forces on Eglin on your show, who spent a lot more time there than I did, and maybe they could elaborate more on some of the happenings there if they would. I don't think it would be something that they couldn't talk about. We were never told we couldn't talk about it, but social media was getting kind of big then, but it's not as big as it is now. So they probably would have told me to shut up if it would have if it would have been something lately, but no one ever said anything about it being secret or anything like that. I was just really amazed at the place, and the guys that worked there didn't look like they got out very much. They were kind of pale for living in Florida.
Yeah. So
were they nerdy looking?
They look like scientists. They had white coats on. We just got a call, to to go pick up some food for them, and we took it up there, and they thanked us. And I was reading all this stuff on the wall, and it really just shocked me that the place existed because it looked like a little radio station on top of a hill. And
Mhm.
I think you can actually look up pictures of it. I think when you look up Site C6, it shows a picture of it, but the picture makes it look a lot bigger than what it is. It was just to me like a little
What's
radio
the
station.
spell the name of the base?
Eglin, E G,
EG
mm-hmm, EGLIN.
Air Force Base.
You-
Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Dave
And what
put
was the site called?
Site C6.
Dave
There
put
it
some
is.
information in the chat on that. Elgin 8 Air Force Base, Site C6, the United States Space Force radar station, which houses the AN FPS 85 phased array radar. Yeah.
Stand by. I want to bring up the picture.
That reminds me a lot of the description of the young Marine in Peru that he was dragged into afterwards, where he saw all the monitors. And he described kind of what you're talking about, seeing that they had on their monitors anomalous craft that were coming in and out of the atmosphere, in back and forth from space, transmedium. So
Mm-hmm.
it just really seems to have a common theme with that. And then, our research is indicating that the Department of Energy is in on this as well.
Yeah,
Hot
that's
and heavy,
it.
I
Does that
believe.
look like
Yeah,
it?
yeah, that's it. It's got like a little slope on the side there.
Yeah. See if I can find a better one. So what's that building, that slope on that building used for?
I have no idea. Like I said, when I went there, I mean, the place didn't look that impressive just by looking at it. And the place, really, it wasn't that heavily guarded. It's just so in a deep part of the base that you really have to have business to be out there. And
Right.
I couldn't find it by myself. The only reason that I was able to find it is because I was with a guy that actually, had to go there every day.
And what were you were with the National Guard at the time?
Yeah, I was with a National
Different.
Guard unit there at the time. We were there for about 2 weeks, and we were just doing an eradication mission with just garrison patrols and things like that. And some days, I would be out in the swamp with them, doing eradication. But other days, we could ride just patrol with the security force guys. And that day, the guy I was riding with, I don't know if we were on the base. I can't remember if we were on the main side that day and we had to go out in the wooded area. But I remember it was probably 10 or 15 miles inside the base where the location is. We were actually about 20 miles. We were next to the Ranger camp out there. The Rangers, U.S. Army Rangers, they have a camp right beside where we stayed.
It almost seems like these radar systems with as much EMF that they put out, we also see them around civilian nuclear facilities, holding ponds and that nature, as well as the nuclear craft and silos where they're housed. They're the only terrestrial source of neutrinos and anti-neutrinos both. And the other closest source is the sun. I have to wonder if they're not somehow harnessing energy from them or something, or like maybe with the radar systems as well, because they're emanating so much electromagnetic force that it's a concentrated stream, instead of diffuse.
Well, I thought it was strange that they handed it over to the Space Force.
Well, Space Force is tasked with everything from from orbit up. That's their domain now.
Yeah.
They're used to the subsidiaries, so it would make sense that they would take it over and start doing the monitoring of their domain. Right. So it kind of makes sense. But again, the Air Force is not doing their job in reporting even to other branches of the military, what's going on in real time, even, especially not archive things. So that the Navy's investigation, the Air Force evidently wasn't compliant to help. So, which is what Christopher Mellon's article was stating on another one, of all the different redundant radar systems the United States has, that we have at least half a dozen different departments that have equipment that would be picking all this up, but none of them are being forthcoming with it, it seems.
Right. No locations are discussed, and I think that is wrong. Because I know for a fact this one place does, and you never hear it mentioned. Most people would have never heard of it had they not um, had somebody come forward and talk about the place. And I'm hoping that maybe you can get some other airmen that were there. Maybe you can get them to talk a little bit about the place and try to get them to elaborate a little bit more about the space junk that falls there.
It seems like they were baiting and knocking them out of the sky.
That's the impression I got. I mean, I'm not a technical guy by far, but I do try to pay attention. And
I think we lost Shannon. He'll be back. Oh,
but I thought, that's kind of a strange task because I've been on a lot of different military bases, and not one has ever tasked me with picking up stuff out of the water, unless I was in the Navy or something.
The only place that this would have happened would have been the Air Force Base there at the Kennedy Space Center when the Challenger blew up. There's still to this day pieces washing up on shore. That's the only space stuff I've ever heard of that was on a base. And maybe further down south, there's one there in south of Miami.
Well, I was having lunch with an airman I was riding with one day, and we were by one of the airstrips there, and I saw these white jet planes taking off, no numbers on them, no kind of identification whatsoever on the planes. And I said, "What are these planes taking off here that have no numbers?" He said they called them secret squirrel planes there amongst the
I can hear somebody saying that. That's typical. That sounds just like a service member saying that, or their Janet Airlines out of Vegas, right?
That's what I thought, because that's the only other place that I'd saw something similar of a type of plane taking off was there, and I thought that's probably what it was. But I've never been on an installation where they weren't marked, except then.
That's what the Peru location seemed to be doing, was drawing them in. But I would almost think, that with their capabilities on these craft, they would fight back. If they're getting knocked out of the sky, I would think that they could retaliate, because we have those instances, stories out of Korea and Vietnam where they were fired on and they fired back with malice and decimated. There's been 6 Russian planes, I think, that were decimated for firing on these craft, and they one in Afghanistan or in Iran in '76. That pilot locked onto him, but luckily they just disabled his weapons system where he couldn't fire on it instead of taking him out of the sky. He said later that he wished that he hadn't tried to fire on it and instead did something. He would rather have not acted in fear, but actually trying to been friendly toward it instead.
Well, I had no idea that Eglin had some kind of UFO history or anything. And Linda Moulton Howe contacted me one night, and I spoke with her for about 30 minutes. And she was trying to tell me that's where they took alien bodies and all these types of things. And I said I had no idea about any of that history. I've never heard that. And that was an interesting conversation because I've never read that anywhere about Eglin.
It's not something they promote.
No.
It's not like they promote Area 51 and White Sands and all that. They get into the community, and then their name gets passed around like a football. But Eglin they seem to be running under the radar.
Yeah, very
Hey,
much. I've really surprised over the years. I haven't heard much said about it actually, and I thought, you know, if you could talk to some other people, maybe they could shed more light on it, and possibly, if they're monitoring things that are coming in and out of the atmosphere, I'm sure somebody has saw something there that
yeah,
maybe could shed some light on some other things too.
the Air Force seems to be very draconian in how locked down they have created for their servicemen, but especially since 2019, after the 3 videos got released, and then a couple more by uh, anyway, there were more videos released, and then they seem to they complied with Congress when they came out in 2019 with Rubio and them to create a better reporting method for their pilots. But in the same instance, they also put a gag order on their pilots in the Air Force, at least, to that where they couldn't talk about it with anybody, not even their own crewmen and things. Um, so they kind of create an atmosphere where they don't even want to make a report of seeing an anomalous craft. They went through with Congress to make it look like they're complying, just like with this AOI MSG group. They're making it look like they're compliant, but they're not compliant. Oh, well, we're still ramping it up. We're still hiring people. They're still at 2021, somebody riding a desk and taking reports, and the Air Force is discouraging the atmosphere of their pilots to not report anything. So luckily, because like the June 25th last year report, the 144 reports, and even the UAP task force was commissioned by the Navy. I don't believe that any of those cases were submitted by the Air Force. It was all through the Navy that they took in. That's an embarrassment for the Air Force, but also an indictment that they're being just belligerent at this point.
They're primarily the ones that monitor all this stuff. I mean, and they're not saying anything, and I think that's just wrong, man. I mean, um, most military members, they're suckers for the truth, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that by getting some of this stuff out, maybe people can become more informed and know that our government is not telling them everything they should.
Yeah, Shannon dropped that again. Our
I
Navy
mean,
has they've got monitoring of their battle space and in the orbit or up above them, like with the Tic Tac incident. The reason it keeps coming around so much, there's so many independent data points that come to bear on that corroborate it. But I've not seen anything yet to indicate that the Air Force contributed anything to that investigation to help the Navy out.
no.
The Air Force has got persistent monitoring up to middle Earth orbit. They have for decades. So I know damn well they would have all the information that the Navy needs to let them know what they were encountering in the Tic Tac incident, and also for the 2019 harassing persistence of entire fleets of them coming down at a time and harassing, where the battle group even had to veer off and change courses, to try and shake them off, out of their from above their flight decks and things.
Well,
So
I believe also that if they don't know what this is, they ought to be upcoming, and just say, "Hey, we're trying to figure this out, and we need help." If people could help, I think people would be happy to help. I think they know where these things come from, where they go, because if they're getting them on radar, they have to know where these things are coming from, mostly where
yeah,
they're going.
transmedium. So what are their entry points? It's not even that, because the Navy over the Tic Tac incident, they said that they were seeing entire fleets of them laying up in low Earth orbit at 100,000 feet or maybe a little above. They couldn't tell the entire capability of their systems, obviously. And I do understand OPSEC on that one, but they are able to see above their battle space that they had Kevin Day was talking about over 100 anomalous craft up in orbit that had been raining down in groups of 5 to 10. And for the Air Force not to know what those were, where their point of origin were to get to that 100,000 feet, they know damn well where they were inserted from. whether they came out of the ocean somewhere else and circled back around, whether they, it's like the one that met them at the cap point. They didn't
And if you
track it
notice,
on.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those questions are never mentioned in the media. Like when they start talking about this stuff, they never ask questions like, well, where are they going? Where are they coming
Yeah.
from? The entry and exit points aren't talked about very much.
And the one at the cap point that appeared, the Navy didn't track it on the radar to that point. It just appeared there. Poof, here it is. And the Air Force would especially know if they are coming into existence out of nothing, from our dimension, or if they're coming from some other location, either in space or underwater. Where are they coming from? Are they manifesting from another dimension? That where they would just appear like they come out of nothing, like a 4D into a 3D or something. They would have to know the answers to all that. And where do they start telling the truth of it? And then how do they go back and cover it up? Okay, Congress, we lied about this, and then it becomes an avalanche. So we have to go back all the way to 47 and admit that we pulled the greatest con in modern history against our own government that should have been given this information, but they didn't. How many people in the Air Force are willing to lose their rank telling the truth?
That's like Lou said, they're only digging their hole deeper.
That's where the immunity and amnesty, I think in some cases, maybe amnesty would be if they're already convicted. I think the immunity, my best advice is those people need to take the immunity while they can, and not continue to obfuscate Congress and our Constitution. They do work for us. They need reminded of that.
Right. I think that would be the best route because, it would help them and give them a chance to, have that moment of truth and say, hey, here's your chance. Here's your get out of jail free card. You should take it. And, I think that would be a good start. I really do.
It seems to me that they're coveting the technologies. They have hidden it in these aerospace industries, like Hal Puthoff said, that he's certain in a recent interview with Weinstein, I believe it was, that he's certain that we've hid advanced physics, material science with these aerospace industries that they're not sharing with the rest of their peers within the government and the scientific community. I think if they're taking government monies, then they need to have some kind of oversight on them to where our government can account for it, instead of all this dark money, for all these years where they've had the 21 million to go missing. They know what department it went into, but it's a parent department, but they don't have the receipts to say, okay, well, it was for skateboards, wheels, and and binoculars. There's no
bullet
receipts.
drains. Right.
That's why they call it that's why they say that it's not accounted for. It's dark money, because they don't have the receipts to show what it was spent on, just what program, and then the buck stops there. There's no oversight. I think if these military contractors are taking government money in tandem with our military, they have to have some agreement of oversight to do that, because they're taking taxpayer money, and not be able to hire these technologies and reverse engineered science within them as a way for the military to hide the wiener. That's just not right.
Yes, and people deserve to know where that money's going.
Yes, they do.
I mean, it's our money they take from us, and we have no say so where it goes.
Yeah, that's got to change.
I
think that they're going to get their ducks in a row for a next round of hearings. Probably September is what I heard recently from somebody on Twitter, a news outlet channel.
I don't think they can use the excuse that the American people can't take the truth, because the American people know the truth now, but they're still being a little reluctant about some things. But, most people I know don't even care about this topic.
Most of them, yeah.
I agree.
They have a cognitive dissonance, and to be told that, that they're non-human technologies. We've been immersed in this for decades. Most of us are, growing up with Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica,
Star Wars,
you name it. It's not an alien concept to most people. What's alien would be to nail it down if they had a specific vision of what it is behind it, not just that it's alien, and intelligent species, but if they actually make contact or something where they could quantify it, I think that would be a little more hair raising to people. But I think whether they're ready or not, like Lou said, we need to be told the truth. So and I know that they're going to slow roll it out to test the waters because the government doesn't move fast anyway. And I'm confident within the next year they're going to come out and finally admit that it's not human technologies. And I think that's as good as it's going to get for the short term. But there's a lot of legacy technology information they could be sharing with our other scientists and peers, and with other militaries to help them build a lot better vision of what we're dealing with and why it's here. We need to figure out. We should have had this conversation 75 years ago. Why are they here in increasing numbers around our militaries, our nuclear assets and things, both civilian and military? What are they trying to telegraph us to communicate?
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. I mean, you can't have the attitude, I know everything, and not, ask for help. I mean, if it's something that's beyond you, which this obviously is, I think that, it wouldn't hurt to enlist the help of, maybe some civilians. Like they've talked about this once about, I think Lou mentioned it about getting civilian data, that people record, and just seeing what you think. If you don't like it, don't accept it.
In the Galileo initiative that they're doing with Avi Loeb and stuff, that's going to be a great project. But there's so many legacy. It's just like with the Roswell crash. That's the most famous one, and they have the most legacy information still stored away that they could actually, Clinton tried to get them to report on it. The Air Force come out and told him that it was weather balloons. So for them to have to come clean now, those people that lied to Clinton are then going to be responsible for lying to a sitting president at the time. And most of those people are still alive. If some take immunity, but as a whole, as the Air Force, as its own entity, how is that going to look for the Air Force to be indicted for lying to seated presidents in Congress? So
my degree's in criminal justice. I have a bachelor's in criminal justice with a minor in psychology, and that's called the long arm of the law.
Yeah. So if one comes forth out of the Air Force to admit what they know, that the Air Force has been lying, where does that avalanche stop with showing that they lied? There's got to be still repercussions. And there's statute of limitations. I get it, but as far as the UCMJ, I think that's a different animal. And lying to sitting presidents in Congress, as the Air Force as a whole, how would that look when somebody starts pulling that string? How do they stop that hole in the dam? Once it starts, you're going to have a scandal rolling through an entire branch of our military. There's going to be senior brass flying everywhere.
Well, if those guys in those hearings that we just had, if they do their homework and they do their jobs, they're going to have a lot of people testifying, just tripping over their words. If, they tell them something and they look into it like what Lou was talking about, and they see that they're lying, that's how that hole's going to get dug deeper.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier with the Wilson memo, that if he acknowledges that it's true, he immediately triggers an FBI investigation for sharing classified information. So unless he has immunity, he can't legitimize the authenticity. But maybe he's willing to testify, and getting entered into Congress in the congressional record is a vehicle to set up the stage so he can speak to that with immunity. I think that would be an ideal situation, because they didn't just flippantly choose the questions that they did, for that hearing. They picked the best that they could to frame up the best argument to get the truth brought out. Um,
I felt a
given the
lot. I felt a lot better after listening to Lou's comments afterwards because a lot of people I think watched it and thought, this was nothing. This wasn't really informative. It was a joke. It's like they just
Joke.
stepped
giggle
all over
factor.
you. Yeah, and he said, otherwise. He said that this thing, could snowball into something bigger, basically. And I hope that goes through. I hope he's right.
Somebody wrote in the chat asking if we think it'll become a political topic. Unfortunately, or like president's debates, they're, politicians are politicians. They smell money and power, and voters, they're going to drill down and throw down on the topic. So,
It depends
um,
on if voters care.
yeah,
If enough
yeah,
voters care. Yeah,
yeah.
if you get enough voters that are concerned about the topic and want to know more, but like I said earlier, I just don't know too many people that, you know,
No, but
or
Congress,
want to know more.
Congress, seeing that these aerospace industries are given an unfair advantage, and they had, in other constituents um, demographics to where it's in their sector, they're going to want a piece of that pie. And in some instances, they had aerospace industries in their own territories that gone out of business because they didn't have an insider track to get into that action.
Monkey
Um,
see, monkey do.
yeah, they're going to even the playing field out, and there's trillions of dollars in stake with this, and they're going to want it for their voting base, in their states to draw in. So there's going to be kind of like a bidding war to find out what this is and get a piece of that pie, basically. So it's not a bad thing. We don't want this. This is a monopoly of the military-industrial complex that needs to be broken. But also, they're withholding some of these advanced technologies that they're not fielding because they have inadvertently set themselves up to where if they field it and let other branches know and Congress, then they've got it. Then they're admitting that they've been harboring this for decades, some of it, and lying about it. So how can they bring it forward with these advanced technologies without indicting themselves? They're in a catch-22 here.
Well, I think that the more curious people get over time, and I guess the the feeling of the time, if it gets to the point where people start putting enough heat on politicians and
Mm-hmm.
really start to care about the topic more, I think you'll see them get a lot more serious about it when they talk about it on national news. Right now, it's always met with kind of like a chuckle,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, we've got the Air Force that has spent 75 years creating disinformation. So anybody close to the truth were ridiculed, and some of them even, suicide and things over this because it ruined their life. They're responsible for that. They've inadvertently set them up in a very bad position that it's going to get ugly. It's going to be an entire branch of our military, embroiled in a scandal of epic proportions like we've never seen before. How many brass are going to roll? They know that their only way of holding on to their stripes and their power is for all of them. A rising tide lifts all boats. But who's going to unhitch the first boat? Because if one breaks that slips off their mooring, then the rest are going to fall like dominoes. So who's going to step forward and let the rest take
it's
the
going to
immunity?
take it's going to take one
Indicted?
big icebreaker. Yeah, one big
Yeah,
icebreaker to do it.
yeah, the dam's going to burst. One person pulls the cork out of the dam, it's just going to snowball like an avalanche. Give immunity to the entire Air Force, but then you can give immunity, but if they've lied and they're, say they're senior leadership of the Air Force, they still got, because of the UCMJ and their code of honor and ethics, they would have to step down because of that. So, it's going to be major.
And that goes back to maybe letting them have some immunity if they just tell the truth.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think it's a good thing that we've got Space Force now that has been carved out separate. So we kind of cleaved off a portion of this that may not be caught up in that scandal that's coming, because I can see the writing on the wall with this. It's evolving. Christopher Mellon was very damning in his article. And it was one of the longest and most articulate, with dozens of links in there
You
to
know
every
what's
known radar system we have.
you know what's really scary is you only have a handful of people willing to be brave.
Mhm.
That's what I think is sad and telling about a lot of things.
Yep.
And yeah,
That's true.
so on in the chat says the technology could help us explore space. We don't know that they're going to share it with us. I hope that would be the case. And George Hernandez wrote that the phenomena can help transcend humanity. We have to be careful of that too, because that's kind of what Heaven's Gate was shaped out of, was this hope that that when Hellbop goes by, we can transcend our mortal bodies and elevate to the fifth consciousness, or whatever they were selling at the time. And we don't need this flesh and blood. And how do you go from the density we're in to the next level up and shed our flesh without dying? No one's explained that process to me. Everyone, in this that talks about transcending, what some of them are talking about transcendence out
You
of the
cannot
mortal body.
transcend in this flesh. You're right.
That sounds to me like it's another form of religion. What they're basically describing is everlasting life.
It's a death cult.
They've inadvertently created another religion out of it. But they're
The
Yeah,
one
and
thing that
it was a UFO cult.
the one thing that really stuck out to me, and I've watched probably every Lou video that I've seen. Um, there was one time, he was talking about, he was, trying to get answers before he left ATIP, from his superiors. And he just told him to read his Bible. I think he said, have you read your Bible lately? And he said that's all he said to him, and
Yep.
it was like they knew something, but they wouldn't tell him. To me, that's where how they came across with it.
Hey, I'm still here. You still there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Rob just zapped out. Let's see what he has to say. I was just getting a bite to eat real quick. Hey, what's up, brother? Yeah. Remember what happened earlier in the broadcast? It happened to me too, dude. All right, we'll do that. All right, later. I'll be darned. Yeah. Hey, get your phone and record it. Make some calls and record it, okay? Later. Well, it looks like the Gremlins. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. It looks like the Gremlins got a hold of Rob's computer, and he's not happy about it. And
I was afraid something like this might end up happening, but hey, that only shows, they're scared about something. If something like that was to happen, I just think that, they're about to be beat at their own game eventually.
Yeah. And the weird thing is, when I started this broadcast, my MacBook Pro, the latest one they have, shut down during the broadcast.
They have
that's coincidence.
That's Big Brother.
Yeah.
That's Big Brother in a nutshell right there. And
So I told him to, if you heard me, I said, record it.
yeah,
So he's going to make some phone calls, and he's recording everything that's happening right now. So that's why I wanted to get off the phone with him. I said, you need to record it. I mean, don't talk to me. Use your phone to record
well,
it.
I have been really happy to be on the show, guys. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I wish you well. And I hope
Thank
that
you.
you know, if I can do anything, um, I'll be happy to do whatever it is I can do to promote the show, guys, and you know,
Yeah.
maybe get some new listeners for you guys because
Well, I
I
really
think
appreciate it. We're looking for um, what are we looking for? We are looking for advisors. Would you like to be an advisor for the charity that Lou and Rob named after me?
sure.
Sure. There you go. That you can do that too. You'll be the second. We got 3 board members and we got 2 advisors. So the more the merrier. So thank you very much. And
I,
you're more than welcome to come back and just chit chat. And everybody else who's watching, we only have a half a dozen people, but after like 24 hours, it's like 100 people
well, you got to
watch it.
start
So
from somewhere. You really do.
I know, right?
And
And yeah, if they
I
want to come to hear what the latest and greatest is, well,
well, it's a really good topic because
yeah,
there are a lot of veterans, military members who need a place to share their stories about these things and where they've seen them. Um, and maybe, people can start getting a bigger view of what's going on out there and what they're not being told. You
yeah,
know, uh, like Lou always has to be careful with, information he gives out that doesn't violate his NDAs, right?
yeah,
And, I'm glad I'm not him.
yeah, because the man talks. Um, he gets right on that line, don't he? I mean, he
Yeah.
just gets right on that line. But
And I think because he does have such a good working knowledge of how the government actually works, that he knows enough to be dangerous to them and still put out information for people
mm-hmm,
that's beneficial. And I think that's great.
right. Yes, I have a towel underneath me, and I have to use it. Apparently, my vinaigrette leaked out, and it's on this
I wear
table over
everything
here.
I eat nowadays. The older I get, the more it's like, I'm back in my toddler days. And you end up in life how you start out: no teeth, no hair.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I still got a full head of hair, and it's still somewhat the same color. When I start using a lot of prednisone, my hair gets thin,
Oh,
and I get bigger. I start
yeah.
gaining the weight.
It's hard to deal with things, especially if you've got kids. I have my son; he's graduating high school next year.
Yeah. Here's a funny one for you. I found out 4 years ago I was a father again.
Oh wow!
Of a he's now 32 years old. I found out I have a 32-year-old son now. That's
You
pretty
know,
cool.
I just found out about 2 years ago. Well, I found out I had three brothers and a sister I'd never met, and I had just found my father, and he lived in Florida,
Right.
and I had his name, so I found his obituary, and I saw the pallbearers, and I thought these guys might be my brother. So
Mm-hmm.
I called one of them, and I said, I think we might be brothers. And he said, yeah, okay, I'll write that down. What is your name? And so I could tell I kind of got nowhere with him. So I called the other one, and
Yeah.
he was a lot more receptive. He agreed to do a DNA test, and I found out he was also a Marine, and we were both on Parris Island at the same time.
Isn't that
Oh, wow.
something?
And I found out I had
Well,
another one. I haven't met those yet. I hadn't met the other brothers, and I met my sister, But it's not every day you're 40-something years old and you find three brothers and a sister you've never met.
Yeah, that 23andMe is
That's what I
awesome.
used. That's what I
Yeah,
used. I believe. I think that was the one I used.
yeah. I found out that by using no, it wasn't actually I didn't use it. I was into Ancestry before I got into some other things, and I got into this. But I was able to track my ancestry to the year 480 AD.
Wow, that's back there.
480. So I think there's 44 greats. 40, if I remember right, it's my great 44 times, right? It goes from here in America to Ireland to Norway, and I came from Vikings. So my father's father was a Viking. That's pretty
Well,
cool.
I found out my heritage was Portuguese and Indian. Like I think it was Cherokee Indian, and Portuguese.
Hmm. That was a rumor in my family, and I had zero. Oh, and this is great because I have certain family members who are racist, and I'm no racist. I wasn't raised to be a racist, and it's funny to find out that I'm 1% West African. 1%. So apparently, one of my grandparents had, they were slave owners, so yeah, they had kids from the slave, having slaves. So yeah, that's part of me too. So I went to my friend who's black. I said, "Hey, can I say hey, what's up, my?" No, you can't. You're 98% white, man. I said,
We're all Americans. We're all mutts.
yeah, yeah, pretty much,
We all
absolutely.
come from different places. Yeah. Um, you know, my my fiance's daughter, she teaches, and she said, "How can I describe America?" I said, "Well, you remember the cartoons from the old days, Great American Melting Pot, right?" And she said, "Yeah, I remember that one." I said, "Well, use that cartoon, show them that, you know." But
Yeah,
there's things that are not taught in schools these days, and I think a lot of us just went overboard. But um, kids, they need to know that we all come from different backgrounds, and that's what makes this country special,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what we all have in common.
I showed Rob a picture of me recently. It was my first, I don't know, during my first year in the military, and I'm in my dungarees, right, in the Navy, wearing my dungarees, and I'm sitting next to American Native service member. I forgot his name, but I remember this guy was a Native American. That was just so. I've never met a Native American,
I
so that
did.
was
I
pretty
used to.
cool.
I worked in the female battalion for a while on Paris Island, and we would get Native American recruits, and they would have their name tapes like "Recruit Whitehorse," and that's real. Um, they really, keep up with their religion and all of these different things. I remember one guy. They asked him what religion he was. He said, "I don't have a religion." And they said, "Well, you better pick one."
I'm
Hey,
here.
yeah, I see you. Hey, do you see
Huh?
Rob right below me?
Yes.
Rob, do you see me?
Yes.
Yeah, I've let you in here for a while. You've been here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so you got anything to report?
Yeah, something really strange went on my computer. It shut down, then it spiraled, and now I've got a dead 1 inch pixel space in the center of my computer monitor now.
And
Um,
that's never happened, huh?
Not since a high profile project I worked on in
And you had your
2013.
phone
I mean,
take a picture of you?
yeah, but there were some, there was some black
Yeah,
web type activity going on, dark web type people screwing with people because they can. They may not like the topic. I don't know. It could have been something completely innocuous, but my paranoia has gotten me this far for a reason. So I'm not I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but I can't rule it out until I check it out. So I'm gonna talk to some people and see, because that was just really strange. All my tabs went blank. Um, then it froze, and then it showed the spiral that I've never seen before, like it was processing, and then it just flashed off, and then the computer just booted right back up, and all my browser windows were closed, and now I've got a dead spot in the center of my monitor.
Did you
That
want
wasn't
to
good.
shut it down again and do a cold restart?
Yeah, after we're done, I
Okay.
can see, but it's just I've got this 1 inch square. It almost looks like one of those barcodes or whatever you call it. I forget. But yeah, it's dead center of my monitor now. They're just dead pixels. Somebody may have been not happy with the topic. It's happened. They do that kind of crap because they can.
No,
They got
born
some.
identity stuff on me.
Yeah, they got some super hackers. So they do what they want. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I can't rule it out. And that was some oddball crap.
Yeah, I had to restart my computer. That's never happened.
Yeah, happened to you too, twice tonight.
Yeah.
It's happened before on our stream too. But what alarms me a little bit is that it usually happens on sensitive topics that involve some aspect of the government or the military at a high level.
They have ways of throwing monkey wrenches, right?
Yeah, and our NSA has persistent monitoring of computers that look for any communication with trigger words.
Yes.
And then it'll get human eyes on it if it alerts to it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Snowden talking about that. He was talking about how they, it's an algorithm. I think that's the word.
Yeah, and unless it's encrypted end to end, like Signal or something, all of our communications are recorded. I've gone over this with some people that are high up in government security, things like that, and special forces, and how many different ways that they monitor Americans. They have computer farms where they record all of our transmissions, everything of every American, anybody in the United States. It's getting recorded and stored. They even record Telegram. It's in the hopes that at some point in the future they can use
it against you.
If they ever crack the encryption, they can come back and read all the stuff that was in there with their computers. So we need to be mindful of that when people put things out on Telegram and things that they think it's secure and it'll never be seen. If they ever break the encryption,
I'll tell you guys, when I first started the Marine Corps League here in town, I just didn't think we had enough veteran organizations here that were doing enough to help, people who were needy, namely veterans. But I also wanted not just to help Marines, I wanted to help, other veterans too. And people came out of the woodwork, just trying to change it and sabotage it. And I'm no longer part of the group that I started because it got so political. But you're going to run into some things like that. Because especially if you're doing a good job, I went out and recruited just about everyone and was doing really well with it, but it turned into something totally different. And I just think that whenever you're starting something new like this, you have to weather the storm.
Yep.
Whatever,
I think we'll be okay.
And however you can.
Yeah, I don't even think. I think I mentioned that I don't let people know my political affiliation because I don't believe this is the platform for it.
No.
I don't talk down to religions, and I don't speak highly of others. I try to be vanilla on that. And when it comes to politics, hopefully nobody will, figure me out. But no politics. I used to be really into the news and politics and stuff, but I can get that anywhere. And here, it's a safe zone. We don't talk about that stuff.
I have a friend. He's a former devil dog too, and every room in his house he has news on, and I'm like, man, how do you keep from going crazy watching all that all the time? It's not good for you.
Yeah, Bill,
Yeah.
I'll share with something with you and the audience. I have Netflix, I have cable, I have too many subscriptions, but I hardly ever watch TV. I watch documentaries.
Mhm.
I watch Skinwalker, stuff like that, right? Um, I stopped, and I used to be addicted to the news, CNN, evening news, or NBC, ABC, CBS, you name it. And every time you hear that breaking news, but they're just repeating exactly what they said about 15 minutes ago, right?
That
The day I cut,
catchphrase get your attention,
yep,
right?
dun, 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 breaking news. Yeah, they tried to, they work on your
The
anxiety. They
doom
go, oh
bells,
my
the
God,
doom,
I
yeah,
gotta watch this.
yeah.
So the day I cut the cable was the day of Sandy Hook. And when I heard what happened on the radio, I did not watch it on TV, and I haven't watched anything on TV since. So there's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I think it
And
was
my life
Mark
has been better
Twain.
for it.
Mark Twain said if you read the news, you're misinformed. If you don't read the news, you're uninformed, or something like that.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
also said he couldn't respect a man that could only spell a word one way.
Uh, but yeah, you have to be careful because you have to decipher all that information and what you think is the truth, you
I
know. And
sample from many different news outlets that are independent of each other, like they taught in advanced literature. Well, I'm talking to an English major. What am I saying? But yeah, independent sources to verify anything that's controversial, especially to pull from every independent demographic we can to make sure it's accurate information and presented
but
accurately.
but you know, most American people, they go to one thing and they don't
Yeah,
want to look any deeper, and that's the
yeah.
fault of
Yep.
America. You
They,
know,
they
you
start trusting 100% in something, and then they take that. They fall into that trap of, well, if this news outlet said it, then it must be true, and they never do the research themselves. I always get articles sent to me that I find on the media, and then they reference their secondhand that their interpretation of like a science report or something, and then they give a link to it. I always tell people when they're doing research, try and go to the first source of information you can. You don't want recycled information from one article to another article to another. Go to the first source and find out where the origin, what they said about it. Because a lot of the times, like the telephone game that Shannon and I have talked about many times,
grapevine.
the telling, it gets corrupted data at some point to where it's not 100% factual to what it started out as a lot of times.
I totally agree. And you know, my neighbor, he'll ask me questions, and you know, I'll give him my thoughts on it. But you know, I'll say, don't take it as the gospel. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
I I give him my opinion on what I think because it's just so depressing.
Yeah.
I
And
know. They don't report
I,
good news. They never report good news.
I just don't understand.
Sensationalism sells,
Um,
unfortunately.
yes, exactly.
We have a lot of people in this world, and when a few do a stupid thing and it's caught on video, it's going to be pushed right in your face.
Yeah. Dirty Laundry, like the song that was popular in
Oh yeah,
late 80s or 90s.
80s. Yeah.
What was it? If you do you guys remember? You know, you talked about the aerial school the other night. Do you guys remember those kids all said that the interpretation they got from these beings that they saw was beware of technology, and the guy that was that supposedly touched the UFO in Rendlesham, he said the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. He said he got the same kind of vibe from his experience. I think
Um.
I heard him say that.
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, it was kind of consistent with that our technologies are going to be a downfall. Yeah, and that's what the Legends of Atlantis were even speaking to, is that the survivors, the legends through time, was that their hubris or their downfall and their high tech and things caused their fall. And even with the last flood and the Abrahamic religions and things and they condemned iron and stuff, that it was a bad and had to be destroyed and unclean. So anywhere they found it, they weren't allowed to touch it. They weren't allowed to use it. Because before the flood, they gotten technology went wild, and that's where with our ancient history research, we find from what I've been able to find, the megalithic construction stopped at the same time that the technologies were taken away. These little g gods disappeared from the earth. It all stopped at one choke point, and it's gone. Every nut, bolt, broken saw blade that cut the megaliths and things, all that, it's gone. You have to wonder, what kind of power and entity can do all that. And I'm sure that we see them over the White House, we see them over the in Russia, over the Kremlin, and over the nuclear silos where they shoot beams down into it, where they felt like that they were scanning for information. They've got the technology to be able to sweep the planet and sanitize it, evidence. So they
And
can
that's
cover
what
the
I
fact.
that's what I think that the government's afraid of, because that's what leads me to believe I don't think they really understand it.
Yeah.
And I think they ought to just say, hey, we're trying to understand it or something, but I think they're
We need to have a
afraid of.
conversation with these folks. Is what we need to have.
Yeah, and
Whoever Leroy is, we need to have a conversation with him.
yeah,
Yeah. What are their intentions? What are they trying to telegraph? Because it seems to me that they are exhibiting that they are only contacting minimally that they possibly can to still get their message across, at least try to get it across if
and
they
it's
can.
and it's
And they're
astounding when they do.
Yeah.
They make big statements like a whole schoolyard of kids,
Yeah.
or a whole Air Force attachment or detachment of people. That's
Yeah. The thing is, I want to. Yeah, I would love to understand what you're saying, but you and I need to have a conversation. Like, who are you? Where are you from? What do you want? We need some things. Questions need to be answered before you start telling a bunch of kids in Africa
Yeah.
the technology is bad.
yeah.
But we don't know what those kids
Elaborate
did.
more, right?
Yeah.
You just
What they
don't
did
just say that and walk away. Just leave
I
that
agree.
right there. And
I
walk away.
agree. Yeah. Right. Peace out.
Yeah.
When they came into Deep Prasad's bedroom, the three of them, he's one of the most brilliant minds on the planet right now. He's like 25 and just genius among geniuses. But they were communicating a whole scores of information to him so fast that he could barely keep up. Well, he wasn't keeping up. He's only pulling out bits and pieces, but he kept seeing DNA in bold letters to it, and it was just running like they were psychically communicating with him and pushing all this information at such a rapid fire pace. He was only extracting bits and pieces, but he wrote down the character sets, the shape of them, a lot of notes from then. And I was going to do a lot more research on him to find out what message that he's matured with, thinking of reflecting back, what was the essence of what that left him with, what does he think they were trying to communicate to him? And there was a former CIA, I think he ran the CIA or close to it. What's his name? He's really prominent now, speaker.
Is the one that I mentioned earlier?
He's one that we may have on our fundraiser. I can't remember. John. He had him and his wife were abducted in the 90s in their bedroom.
That's right.
Also, shoot, I can't remember his name at the moment. Really famous CIA agent. I think he ran the CIA for a while, and he did take briefings from Lou Elizondo when he was the head of ATIP. So he corroborated that Lou was he was part of the To the Stars Academy also to help fund it. In fact, he's the co-owner of it now with Tom DeLonge, and I can't remember his name at the moment.
It's not the Ramirez guy, is it? It's not the Ramirez guy, is he? The Hispanic guy?
No, Jim Zimmerman. Thank you, George. Oh, thank God. Yeah, I was stuck. Him and his wife had the same type experience. If I'm remembering correctly, they were in their bedroom, and the Greys came to them, and their craft came into Deep Prasad's bedroom. When he would look up, he'd see the craft. When he looked down, it would disappear again. It was tripping him out.
I've never heard that story. That's a new one on me.
Look it up. His name's Deep Prasad, and it is an amazing accounting. And one of them had on a white. They all had one white, skin tight white suits, and one of them had
There it goes again.
the one
That's
that
a
was standing
puzzle
right in
piece.
front of him. Yep. There's spandex. It was showing symbols on its chest that just kept changing. It was like a Rolodex, just kept showing these different symbology. And he said it was kind of like a cross between ancient Hebrew and there's a Demotic script. He said it was a cross between Egyptian hieroglyphics and Hebrew is what he described it. And that sounds like not demonic, but demotic text is kind of what he described. I was going to look at that some more.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because somebody had to teach everybody how to read and write, right?
Yeah. Good point.
I mean, my 4-year-old grandson, you know, he doesn't know anything unless we teach him.
One of the questions I want answered in my lifetime is, will Danny Silva release his notes that he copied from a picture that he saw of this this writing? I think it'd be pretty cool if he just, these are the notes I took, but we'll see. Hopefully he's watching. Doubt it, but maybe they'll get to him one day. I want to see those notes.
Well, you guys, it's been a pleasure, and
thank you for coming.
And I really enjoyed talking to you guys. I think you guys have a hit on your hands here. I really do, and I'll be loyally following you guys, and I'll put in my 2 cents worth every now and again too.
Yeah, please. This is we just hang out and talk. Rob and I talk till 4 o'clock in the morning anyways. We're just taking everybody along for the ride. So
he wants caught up to speed on the ancient history and picking my brain and what I know about this topic and a little bit of smattering of the physics. And he's got some amazing insights and history on this as well from his research. So,
well, you guys have like, I remember hearing about the train incident, and I haven't heard of that one in a while. But that's Silva
amazing.
Guy, the Silva guy, I haven't heard about him.
That's he's a constitutional lawyer. He may be representing Lou Elizondo. He was on Thomas Fessler's show. Rob was actually a panel member and was able to ask questions.
Dan Sheehan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Yep. Danny Sheehan.
Yeah, Danny Sheehan. Yeah, and he did what did he do? He did the Pentagon Papers, Iran Contra. You know, Silkwood.
He's a prestigious guy, man. I mean, he's got a record.
Watergate.
Yeah.
They
don't get much bigger than those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's a big dog.
Yep. All right, there, Bill. You come back and see us whenever you want. You got. I sent you a. You can get it anyway off this the YouTube channel in the comment section. But I sent you my phone number, so if you ever want to text while I'm doing all of this, I can. He wants to come on, and I'm able to send you a text that way, and I can hook you up quicker.
Okay.
Because if I just put it out there, I'm gonna have 50 people in my green room here. You know.
Yeah, I'd stay chat a little while longer. I have a little 4-year-old grandson, and he hits the ground running when he gets here in the morning. But
okay, Grandpa.
But I thank you guys, and Semper Fi, man.
Semper Fi.
Bye, guys.
Take care, man.
Take care. Bye now. Well, that was cool.
Yep.
We're gonna get more and more people like that. I just see it coming. Good quality people, and we're not being trolled. You know.
Nope.
It's like, oh, click on this dude, and someone show me their Hooters and take. Oh my God, we just got flashed. You know.
Yep.
We just got trolled. Oh my goodness. Reminds me of that scene in Airplane, that movie Airplane.
Yeah.
What year was that? Good Lord. Woo. Showing my age. I actually saw that movie in the theater when I was a kid.
That's cool.
Yep. So, what are you doing tomorrow, Rob? I didn't tell you what I was doing.
I don't know. I need to get my
I'm going to the
disability
zoo.
paperwork for the year done again. Every year, it's a pain in the ass, but I gotta get
That
it
sounds
done.
like so much fun.
We're having a heat wave right now till Thursday, so I'm gonna stay inside, and I'll probably be in a lot of pain tomorrow after sitting for so long today and leaning over the engine out in the heat for a few hours. So yeah.
Yeah, I would be. I'm exhausted for you. So I'm going to get up. I'm leaving here about 8:30 in the morning. I got my photography buddy coming over. We're going to Jacksonville Zoo, and we get there as soon as they open up, and see all the animals while they're still enjoying the cool of the morning before the heat comes. I have my mobility scooter all charged up, ready to go. Got my batteries all ready to go for my camera. So maybe y'all see some good photos tomorrow. See if there's any questions in here before we get going. Yes, I will. Thank you. Let's see, bring it up. My eyesight's horrible. Yes, thank you very much. And there are some questions here real quick. We'll go through them. How many craft do you think the USG has recovered? Aurora, Colorado, Cape Girardeau, at Roswell, Aztec, New Mexico, Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. I think that may have possibly been a Soviet Union reentry, premature reentry, because they were hot on that, and it kind of matches what was the drawings, the schematics of the rocket. It was a part of their satellite, so we couldn't let anybody know that we had Soviet stuff. Also, there was Virginia, Brazil, and or others. I do think case number 2 that I'm doing with the Peru, that was the last UAP, possibly the last UAP recovered by our government. It was Department of Energy contractors. It could be Wackenhut. It can be Blackwater. I don't know, but they had the aircraft. They had the Chinooks. They had the manpower and a bunch of buttholes wearing black camis with no insignia or name tags. And they secured that scene, and I'm sure they shipped it somewhere to take a look at it. So hopefully we'll find some puzzle pieces and put it together and getting this all straightened out. And I like to have some vindication for this young Marine.
Yeah. And like we said before, them forcing him to sign an NDA and threatening to kill him and his entire family if he spoke about it ever. That contract is null and void. Even if they produced it, they would be the ones going to jail, not him. So yeah, step right up and swing that bat, guys. Be accounted for. Be brave to see who you are. Kind of curious. Somebody named William Wood in the chat says WG Radke says hi to me. Radke is a former U.S. government intelligence officer, national security. So yeah, I have no idea why the person wrote that. Maybe he was razzing me because my computer shut down under scrupulous circumstances. That would be kind of trippy. They wrote in the chat, WG Radke says hi to Rob. If he's listening, hey man, join the panel.
We can hook you up with a link. You don't have to backdoor it that way because you mess things up. Okay. Just
don't
let
hack,
me know.
Man.
Rob and I will give you the link. Come on.
Yeah. Just come on in, man. Doors open. Obviously. Yeah. Come on in. Don't be shy. But,
Corso, what's your thoughts on Corso? George Hernandez would like to know.
He's the real deal. I've got it on good authority. He's got a lot of valid points that he made. So he's not just blowing smoke up our wazoo. Yeah.
Right here, folks. It's the only UFO book I got. And I haven't read it all yet.
I can pan my library. Oof. Yeah, the ones I
got a
bought
bunch
in
of digital.
last year, I get about 3 to 5 a month at least. Yeah, it's growing in leaps and bounds. Yeah, I'm busy.
All right. Do you think NASA jumped ship into looking for UAPs? Do you think they just what do you think?
Well, I think they threw their hat down in this fight when they, like Congress, before the 2017 New York Times article, they didn't know this was the real deal. They've been lied to, that this was just snake oil and National Enquirer fodder for the bottom of a bird cage. So them finding out that they've been lied to, they're pissed. And now we've got the head of NASA that found out that they've been lied to as well. They want to know what the hell we're dealing with because, again, the Air Force isn't telling them what's going on. They're going to have to figure it out themselves. Yeah, and the Air Force has created their own version of the AOI MSG that was in the NDAA for 2022 that we need to go over sometime because they have a program. I forget the name of it now. We need to talk about that program that they've got. The Air Force has one that's supposed to be getting stood up also, and I think both of them are lagging in functionality. So they're going to be in contempt of Congress at some point. I don't know what that's going to entail to hash out, but yeah, they're, like I said, people are going to start losing brass if they don't start complying. And NASA tasks with, like Space Force, that's their domain. And I'm sure that they're going to be corroborating. And I hope that Space Force is more cooperative with NASA than the Air Force has been with anybody.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, we did a record-breaking amount of broadcasting today. I think we had like over 2 hours earlier today, and now we just did 2 hours and 22 minutes. And I think we did good, man. I appreciate you letting me know we can do this and get some stuff that's off our, and get some stuff off our minds because we're going to talk to each other anyway. So you might as well be part of it. Let me look over the comments one last time. Let's see. Rob, how they do what? Yeah. Yep.
That guy, WG Radke's got more 3-letter and 4-letter. Wow, I'm impressed. Sincerely, I don't even know what half of those things mean, but I'll look them up when we get done. I'm impressed, literally. Ain't no joke, but yeah, cool. Yeah, that's an impressive 24 years, man. Yeah, and that time I was selling windows and making bank for millionaires and standing up high rises and some DoD projects, but mostly hurricane impact. I sold a lot of windows and doors and curtain wall and storefront in your area, actually. Hurricane impact resistant. There's a little E logo in the window or doors that you see. It says FCO on it. There's a good chance I sold those projects. I sold about $20 million a year in condos, schools, government buildings, and a few DoD facilities for impact resistant of blast. That was really trippy to engineer for overpressure and under pressure that could withstand a nuclear blast. That was hair raising to engineer, let me tell you. Yep. Anyway, I'm babbling.
Let's call it a night, man.
Yep. Stick a fork in me, man.
As soon as I get back, I probably need a nap because I'll be really tired. And shoot, pick it up whenever you want.
All right.
And I want to thank everybody.
Everybody that's still listening, we tremendously appreciate you being here, and the ones that did hang out and had to have gone by now. Thank you all for showing up, and we will try to get more regular on a time frame and day and things where we're a little more coordinated so you guys can catch us live.
Yep.
Logan Black. I don't know who messed up my computer, but sincerely, I am needing to talk to somebody that knows something about them because I've got about a 2-inch dead spot in the center of my monitor now, and it did weird things I've never seen before, and I've been screwed with before. Yeah. So yeah, interesting, very interesting. Cool.
All right. Are we done?
Yep, we're done.
All right.
And I gotta give VVV a wrench, so that'll be done when they get back.
All right. Good night, everyone.